So Mel Tucker got hit with the hammer, and now Jonathan Smith has no wins.
What the hell did State even do? And how did we end up with a bigger penalty than U of M? Okay, if we cheated, we sure suck at it.
How do we get here? What do we know? That's what we're getting to the bottom of. We've got Mel Tucker fired for cause, which cost him a major buyout from Michigan State because of his situation with Brenda Tracy, who also claims that her life was derailed by Mel Tucker and Michigan State. We've got recruiting violations, and then we've got Jonathan Smith, who now has no Big Ten wins because they've been vacated by the Big Ten because of a scandal that in large part looks like it took place before he even got there. But we're just going to unpack the whole thing right here on today's episode. All right, this was wild because obviously, like, in covering college athletics, like, you hear all about, like, leaks and NCAA leaks, and everyone's got good sources. And, you know, we heard forever about the Michigan scandal, the Michigan hammer that was supposedly coming, and then there was no hammer that actually came down. And then yesterday, kind of out of nowhere, and surprise to me, Michigan State football gets a 3-year probation and 14 wins forfeited from their recent seasons, which was like, okay, like, sure, let's go. Let's see it. And figured this would be the perfect video to break down here. The NCAA placed Michigan. All right, I always got to do the credit thing. Cody Nagel. I'll roll with that. The NCAA placed Michigan State's football program on a 3-year probation following violations committed by the former staff members during Mel Tucker's tenure. Officials announced the program must also vacate 14 wins from the past 3 seasons, including all 5 victories from the 2024 seasons, which is Jonathan Smith's first year as coaching, according to ESPN. That's brutal because, like, you know, I've always been against, like, punishing a current coach for, like, a past coach's missteps. Not that, like, vacated wins really matter, like, for the fan, but I do think there is, like, a level of pride that, like, there's vacated wins for the coach. Because at the end of the day, it's like whatever Jonathan Smith goes and does, when someone looks up his all-time record, like those wins to me at least like matter. So I don't like seeing those kind of wins vacated personally. Personally, not a fan of that. Just because, like, that's who vacated wins impact the most. It's not the fan. It's not the individual player. It's the head coach. And if the head coach wasn't around at all, I think it's definitely, like, fucked up. But whatever. The NCAA found that Tucker and his former staff failed to properly oversee the program, resulting in violations involving 3 ineligible players. Investigators determined that staff arranged multiple, impermissible recruiting and benefits, covered unofficial visit expenses, and engaged in improper contact with recruits. Oof. The improper contact with recruits happens literally everywhere. I mean, shoot, I saw it happen at Ohio State when I was out to dinner. That's neither here nor there. The NCAA found that Tucker and his former staff, I already read that. In addition to vacating wins, Michigan State must pay $30,000, which is really not anything compared to the Michigan payment. How much did Michigan have to pay? Michigan had some, like, crazy Michigan sign stealing penalty, $20 million, according to the AI review. The ESPN, Michigan receives a $30 million fines that could eclipse $30 million. Crazy. So Michigan State took a $30,000 penalty plus 1.5% of the college football of the football program's budget, which was $58.6 million for the 2024 season per ESPN. The sanctions also include restrictions on official and unofficial visits, recruiting communication, recruiting person days, and off-campus recruiting contact and evaluations over a 3-year probation period. Tucker, former general manager, I'm going to try it, and former assistant coach Brandon Jordan received show cause orders, which barred them from coaching in college until the penalties expire. Tucker was given a 3-year order for failing to adequately monitor the program. Ooh, a lot of people wanted Michigan hit with that. Which I think probably is pretty valid, but they chose not to do it. Don't know why. No speculation on why. Tucker was given 3 years for failure to adequately monitor the program. Khalif and Jordan received 6 and 5-year orders, respectively, for knowingly providing. Oof. They were doing it. They were throwing the money at them. In a joint statement, Michigan State President Kevin Guzwich, I think, and Athletic Director Jay Batt said the university pursued and negotiated a resolution to minimize penalties on current athletes and staff who are not involved in the violations. Damn, if they negotiated that down, what was the actual punishment? That is so cracked. That is so cracked. Today's announcement brings closure to an NCAA investigation resulting from violations committed by previous staff, the statement read. With this matter behind us, we are all able to move forward, focusing on the present and future of Spartan football. Yeah, man, shit. Like, Jonathan Smith is like, I didn't even do anything, and I lost these wins, unless they're saying maybe he knowingly played these players after finding out they were ineligible, which I highly, highly doubt. Michigan State fired Tucker for cause in 2023 amid an unrelated sexual harassment allegations. Meanwhile, Smith, in his second season, I mean, yeah, this is the whole Brenda Tracy thing. They had, like, a phone situation, and I guess he, like, whacked the willy, choked the chicken on the phone. She reported him, and that was reason to fire him with cause. And I think, how big was Mel Tucker's buyout? Because of that situation, and also, like, I think she's very unhappy with the whole thing, too. Mel Tucker's buyout. Michigan State is not paying Mel Tucker's buyout because they fired him for cause, which voids the remaining money on his 10-year, $95 million. Yeah. His buyout was more than $77 million, and I do not believe they had to pay him out for that. Whoa. Okay, I was not ready for this other part of it. Leaving Smith technically winless against Big Ten opponents at Michigan State. So that, I was not ready for this. This is an article by Outkick. Trey Wallace. Michigan State's NCAA case looks more like a setup to get Mel Tucker than an investigation, asked Tennessee. November 12th, 2025. This was not a part of my overall show notes for today. I guess I'll move this over. So a lot of this is probably stuff that we already read. I mean, I guess, like, to the point there, I mean, a lot of this stuff happened under the table. Like, the airfare and lodging were taken care of under the table, of course. Oh, and the folks who traveled with these players had their expenses taken care of, as well as, oh my goodness, death by stone for individuals involved in this, act of cheating. Okay. If Tennessee's case was a DUI, then Michigan State's case was a parking ticket. So when the NCAA decided to, I just want to say, this is a opinion piece from the looks of it by Trey Wallace, just real quick. Not reflect my own thoughts. This is an opinion piece. So when the NCAA decided to punish former head coach Mel Tucker along with staffers Khalif, Brandon Jordan, and with show cause, blah, 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 blah. Look, I'm not saying the Vols were innocent under Jeremy Pruitt. The Vols were forced to vacate 11 wins for the 2019 and 2020 seasons. Included in this violation, Tennessee had what can only be described as an alleged hotel scheme setup, which was paid for by cash drop-offs every Thursday before home football games, according to multiple sources at the time. Jeremy Pruitt had an assistant coach allegedly passing out folders full of cash to a player who lined up outside the door, blah, 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 blah. Okay, This was it. I almost forgot to mention that Michigan State had to vacate wins during its time period, one against Central Michigan, where former Michigan staffer Connor Stallions was proven to be on the sidelines helping the Spartans' opponent. Michigan is Sharon Moore and NCAA. Okay, let's act as if the games were played. Since the Spartans were forced to vacate 14 wins over the course of these ineligible players participating from 2022 to 2024, tack on some recruiting restrictions for 3 years along with $30,000 fine plus 1.5%. Stop. The NCAA got itself a win in the court of public opinion, and Michigan State received more of that for cause ammunition that they needed to fight Mel Tucker's lawsuit. Essentially alluding to, Michigan State and the NCAA negotiating to make it this to give them more cause as Mel Tucker continues to fight that case, which I thought was over, but Mel Tucker's lawsuit is still going on because he believes he's owed the $77 million, and Michigan State is saying, no, you were fired for cause, and this adds fuel to the fire. So it does benefit Michigan State for the punishments to be harsh because it helps their case even more. That is brilliant. That's a great, I guess, not reporting, but a great, assumption based on what a university will do to get out of a $77 million buyout. Obviously, we saw what LSU's willing to do to get out of their buyout, and it is important and relevant in this case. I did drop an entire video on it, so make sure you go find it. Also, like and sub while you're here. It helps. But is it really an investigation when the school opens the back door and hands over all the evidence needed to put together a case? The NCAA just had to make sure they didn't screw it up. Let's be clear. I'm not advocating for Mel Tucker, but this was a setup on a tee for the NCAA. That's great. That's a great article. 2 articles in regards to the Mel Tucker case. So, that really, really checks out. Really checks out. Really checks out. All right. This is my first time doing this. Oop, wrong thing. I really like Valentino. I think he's a great, radio mind, radio personality. I am a big believer that everybody that is looking to do content, I'm a firm believer should listen to radio. I think that listening to you can always tell when radio sounds and feels different. So this is the Valentini Show. Want to go through it a little bit, kind of get their reaction. Obviously, they are Michigan State fans, and this news coming down affects them more than just about everybody else.
All right, well, Jeremy really did make news. What the hell did State even do? And how did we end up with a bigger penalty than U of M? Okay, if we cheated,
super valid reaction. Like whatever they did, the whole cash drop thing does not feel like it warrants the same kind of, I guess, pushback. I had the same reaction. How did they lose wins and Michigan didn't?
We sure suck at it.
It's funny. I exactly what I told Kenny when he said that. I was like, Kenny, I stopped reading. I was like, oh, they got caught for something. Well, whatever you did it poorly because you didn't even capitalize on it. So,
no, see, it's funny because Kenny came scrambling in here and he's
okay. So we just read the article, and it's funny because it's our guy Rico saying if you didn't, if you cheated, you didn't do it very well because A, you weren't very good, and B, you got caught. It's funny because they got caught likely because they were trying to get caught because Michigan State needed more fuel for the fire to help win this lawsuit against Mel Tucker, which I didn't realize was still going on, which I will look into later. It's kind of late right now, but just quick note. Oh, also, you guys know how I am. Bingo, and then go up to 0.75. Where is it? I'm tripping, y'all.
and capitalize on it. So,
no, see, it's funny because Kenny came scrambling in here and he's like, well, you should do this. You're passionate about it. I go, no, I'm a 45-year-old man who can just see things clearly. And hold on, caffeine alert.
Look at that. Ghost energy. Twin and M.
There you go.
Dude, Ghost Energy for me is like a manic episode in a can. These manic episodes keep me from burning out. But it's like a bite-sized manic episode, like a manic Hot Pocket.
I laugh at all of it. Kenny, the way I would explain it is, I'm so cynical to it, I'm so indignant that there's no anger. I don't care. If State did something wrong, punish them. That's always been my deal. Even during the Nassar stuff. If you could draw one conclusion, that Tom Izzo or Mark Antonio in some way, shape, or form had even been in the same room with the guy. I'm fine with that. I think the laughable nature of it is this breathless.
There's a really important line in there. He said if they did something wrong, punish them. I'm all for that. That is something that you never, ever, ever heard a Michigan show say a single time. And my guess is, and we'll probably get to one, my guess is, as we will hear a Michigan pod, and instead of talking about it in terms of okay, they they messed up, they got punished, they'll almost taking from a mocking point of view, because Michigan people feel like they cheated and got away with it, but their cheating didn't really matter, but their cheating kind of did matter. So like they'll play mental gymnastics. This is great. This is a Michigan State fan saying, you know what, look, like this team cheated. If you find out they cheat, punish them for it. Now, the difference is like Michigan State wanted to get caught and wanted this to be a thing to help their case against Mel Tucker. And for the Michigan side of it, they didn't want that. There was no benefit for them.
Reporting and there's going to be wins vacated. You had the largest on-field cheating scandal. We're talking hard drives, lab. I think the laughable nature of it is this breathless reporting and there's going to be wins vacated. You had the largest on-field cheating scandal. We're talking hard drives, laptops, funding, all of it.
Spyware.
And you mean to tell me, whatever, I still need to know, what did State do? Did they pay someone illegally, or what are the charges?
They provided impermissible recruiting inducements and benefits.
Got it.
This was a recruiting coordinator.
So is this back when?
Syed.
Yes.
Yeah.
And guess what? Punish them. Fine. I don't care. I just laugh because we're living in a time now. I've got Georgia paying high school kids $20,000 a month to stay committed. Mm-hmm. And at the very same time, that's not a violation, but whatever this bum melt.
This is interesting because, like, that is a rumor that I have heard as well. I have not heard any official reporting on it, just a kind of the rumor universe. But he feels like he can come and stand on it because he feels like someone from the NCAA likely knows about this and just is ignoring that there are schools in the South paying huge amounts of money to keep kids committed. And he's standing on it. Like, this is a huge show. So, like, all right, like, more power to you. Like, absolutely. Like, I feel you.
Tucker hired is. Okay.
Yeah, and again. No. You want to know why I believe you get hit hard with penalties like that? When you care. When you actually show up to the NCAA and say, we're sorry, here's what we did wrong. Because what I've seen in the past few years, if you just say, yeah, we did it, and I'm busy right now. We need to talk to you. Yeah, I'll get to you. Okay, you really need to meet with us? Sure. You said you were going to call us at 3. Yeah, well, stuff
that's where I actually give Michigan credit, is they just so brazenly farted.
F you, and here's a middle finger.
Yeah,
they did give the middle finger. Now, Trey Wallace, again, not me, but Trey Wallace is suggesting that Michigan State willingly cooperated and almost hoped for the punishment to help the lawsuit that I guess is still going on between Mel Tucker and Michigan State.
They had drunken Taco Bell and then released the gaseous emissions in the face of the NCAA, and it worked. So, yes, okay. It was funny because, Jeremy waddles in and he's like, hey, does anybody know what games are vacating? And I'm like, who's getting games vacated? Literally, I had no idea this came down today. And he's like, oh, there's a big scandal at East Lansing. And you could tell Jeremy was all bricked up about it. I'm like, this is so typical. Like, okay, sure. Let me do some digging. By the way, I want to shout David out if you're watching the show, that while I dislike the University of Michigan's teams, I have to tell you, David's hat is 10 out of 10. That logo, I don't think Michigan does nearly enough.
No,
I love that hat.
I've actually seen it in like the little hoodie pullover t-shirt.
Can you show us the hoodie?
Yes.
I decided not to buy that one. I just split it.
Oh, okay.
But I like it. You look great today.
Thank you.
But no, I just look.
3 years pro.
That sounds like Sam Webb, because maybe I'm on like way too like fast of a thing. That sounds just like Sam Webb.
Probation, restrictions on official visits and unofficial, and a show cause for the former members.
So basically, it's the Jerry Tarkanian, right? So like when UNLV gets popped, Cleveland State goes on probation. Okay, fine.
Vacated wins due to participation of 3 ineligible student athletes.
You mean like Blake Corum?
Yes.
Dude, the Blake Corum thing, like the fact that the Blake Corum thing didn't get any more traction is one of the stranger things in the whole Michigan case. Not that I know, I don't know if the NCAA ever looked into it. Obviously, like the NCAA looking into Michigan State kind of blipped a little bit ago and then popped up out of nowhere. So I don't know, but
except for nobody will ever do that because that means you're going to have to actually.
Right. You mean like
you'll tarnish the national championship?
You mean like before the Rose Bowl when Charles Woodson had contact with an agent?
Yes.
Yeah, got it. Look, that's the whole folly of all it. Fine, punish State, bury him into the ground, put him in Middle Earth. I don't care.
So I guess with the Kenneth Walker game doesn't count anymore.
Fine, I don't care. No, those were more calls that he ruined.
Also separately, like for those who don't know, there is a Valentini beef between him and he can't stand Gus Johnson, who he thinks ruins a bunch of games, ruins the moments, and that's what they were making fun of right there because of the Mendoza moment over the weekend.
Honestly, Gus's calls of that game weren't even any good. I'm gonna be there, Mom. See you, things, New York, penis. He's gonna be there. Ah! So yeah, I don't know what to say, but hopefully Jeremy's got a wet wipe in the newsroom and he can clean himself up from the excitement.
Because Michigan State cares, and they actually showed up for the meeting and they got punished, and the NCAA was like, at least somebody respects us because nobody else does. No, Mike, you're right. You are literally playing a game that nobody else is playing. Everybody else has moved on and said, "We'll do what we want to do when we want to do it." And
it's the same thing. I'll give you an example. The idea I had I hate starting the show this way. So I was talking with a former player, Siren. The point is, no, he's good dude, really, really good dude, and deeply cares about the school, but he's as disenfranchised as I am. The point is, like this idea that Deloitte is providing scrutiny to NIL deals. Okay, case in point, schools are either backdating when the deals are signed, or they're simply saying, that's cool, come and get it. And they're just doing what they want to do.
Right. Yes, because that's why everybody had to get a deal done before, I believe, July 1st, because that's when technically Deloitte would start doing their job. So every kid was scrambling to get those NIL deals that would stay undisclosed, because after that, technically you're supposed to know. This all boils down to, unfortunately for Michigan State and a lot of the smaller schools, you still think the NCAA has teeth. You still listen to them. You still answer their call.
It's funny, the more I listen to this, the more I believe in Trey Wallace. It sounds like that's kind of the gist of this segment. It's a 12-minute segment. Yeah, 11ers and then breaks is kind of what I was on radio, but I'm curious.
At long last, as anticipated.
This is Isaiah Hole, or like this video too. I'm curious to see where this goes, because Michigan people claimed that the NCAA hated Harbaugh and hates Michigan, and yet they didn't gotta get off with any punishment. And I'm curious to see if this is going to be a mocking of Michigan State, or if this is going to be, damn, the NCAA operated unfairly. Which it should be. Like, they should feel a seg of like, oh, we got lucky. We'll see if they actually do it. Connor Stein's on this as well, so I'm not listening to the whole thing. I'll listen to about like 10 minutes. I don't really love this show.
The hammer finally fell on a Michigan school, and we've got one of the central characters involved in that, as everyone expected. Connor Stallions, the manifesto, part of all of this. Let's dig into it right here on this episode of Locked On Wolverines. Wolverine Locked On Team Network, where it's your team every day. I'm your man on the ground, Isaiah Hole, publisher of Wolverines Wire through USA Today Sports.
I'm surprised that he does that thing with his mic, even when he's not at home and like has the mic. So he just goes into CapCut, and there's like an audio filter, and you click podcast and you turn it up all the way, and it like makes your S's real hissy. And I like to mess around with it a little bit, but sometimes it sounds too overkill if you don't have the right kind of mic. I notice it, maybe nobody else notices it, but it does bug me a little bit that he processes his episodes like that, even when he's not in his home studio.
Media Group, and we have the man, the myth. I don't know if I can call you a legend anymore, because
like the high ends whistle or the high ends hiss and the low ends buzz, and it bugs me.
The hammer fell on a Michigan school, and I've been spending all this time here on this show talking about how the hammer wasn't going to fall on, well, I was saying the University of Michigan, and it turned out it was Michigan State University that ended up seeing the hammer fall. Before I get to you, Connor, thank you to all of you who are our everydayers who check out the show every day. And thank you for making us your, but Connor, like you were there for one of the games on the sidelines staring down.
I was there for a few though, back in 2022, but yeah, in 23, I knew something was going on. Something shady was going on. Central Michigan started off pretty hot, and Michigan State pulled away in the third quarter, and it just felt like something was off. But it's good to know that Central Michigan has been righted in this.
Yeah, it is good, and it is it's because you just cheaters never prosper is one of the things, and you just don't like to see the sanctity of the game being tarnished the way that it just was in East Lansing, right?
Yeah, this is so unserious. I'm not gonna be able to take traction. Like, that's my biggest issue with like the Michigan media sphere. It's like everything's a joke. It's like, all right, like I get it. Like, I don't know, that just seemed really corny to me. I don't know. It's just like, I would have loved to hear like a real discussion, but like I don't know if I'll be able to get like without getting like really annoyed, like get through the like. I think maybe for a while, and I don't know if any Michigan fan will actually talk about it, because it would have them having to admit maybe the NCAA doesn't hate them, maybe the NCAA gave them kind of preferential treatment for winning the Natty. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what Like they would have to talk themselves into a circle to like really be able to talk about the Michigan State thing. So I don't think they ever will, because really like you can acknowledge like, okay, like one thing was bad, one thing was good, and the whole thing in the middle is kind of tricky. So I was gonna try to give it a listen, but I don't know if I could make it through that far, because I want like an intelligent take from a Michigan fan and like an intelligent discussion. And maybe because it's late, maybe because that just was like ridiculous that I won't get to the bottom of it. But anyway, appreciate you guys for tapping in today. Make sure you like and subscribe, and tap in with Q and them tomorrow. And yeah, I'll probably have a bunch of weekend content as well. So until next time. I can't believe Connor Stallions is now in media, in my section of the media. It's bizarro every time I get to it.